All right, let's get into the papers now. Let's know what the headlines across Nigeria are this morning. And we have joining us the managing editor of Bloom TV, Adele Adio. Adele, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
As always.
It's nice to see your cap again.
It's interesting. Now let's begin with the Daily Trust. That's our #1 paper this morning. Senators clash over probe of $3.5 billion subsidy fund. We've not seen the end of this yet.
I mean, it's just the beginning of the dirt, the mystery around the NNPC.
Yeah.
The fact that nobody can explain to us how much crude is being exported, or how much exactly, the landing cost or the cost of distribution of petrol products around the country. Is some sort of a secrecy in Nigeria, and you wonder whether it's a cartel. This is public property, and it should be as transparent as it comes.
Perhaps we should ask the Minister of Petroleum.
Well, I mean, if you could.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, if you could, but
Because
you see,
because the point there is, there's no way the Minister of Petroleum would say he doesn't know.
He's in charge here.
as at 3 days ago, the landing cost of petroleum was about 202 naira. That means that the government is paying a subsidy. I mean, they like to argue
The
that it's not
differentials.
a differential.
Exactly.
They say it's a top. There's a word that Festus Kayamo used again, some funny language that but they're paying something. They're paying a differential of between 70 to 80 naira on the landing cost of petrol. And so where's that money coming from? Because this party had argued, vociferously that they were not going to pay subsidies, and subsidies was a scam. And remember, they are the ones who increased the petroleum, the cost of PMS to 145 naira, and yet we're still paying that huge differential as subsidy.
Remember the vice president said at the time that the government is not paying, it is NNPC.
It is NNPC that's paying.
It's NNPC, not government.
It's a typical case of, I'm not saying you stole my money, but my money is missing.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. Nigeria defeat Libya to top AFCON qualifying group. That's quite interesting yesterday at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
the Eagles seem to be flying once again.
yeah, exactly. They seem
And
to be- they found their
Odion
wings.
Igalo is walking his way
They found their wings.
back into the hearts of many Nigerian footballers.
Yeah, he's been criticized for not scoring
at the World
goals.
Cup.
Yeah. All right, PDP appoints Saraki as presidential campaign DG. This is when this news broke yesterday. In fact, a lot of reactions already from across the different divides of the country. They are saying, why do you have to do that? How about the man who was in charge of the entire campaign organization before now, who ensured that Atiku won, former Ogun State governor, and so on?
The truth is, at this point, who would you rather make your campaign DG? He's shown his hand in the Osun elections, where he was made the chairperson for the Osun elections for the PDP, and the PDP put out a very good showing in Osun State. And of course, they would want to ride on the wave of the little brisk and interesting campaign he ran for the 3-4 weeks up onto the primary elections. So he seems to have the appeal, the swagger, if you'd like. I don't see a better person chairing his campaign, and that's Atiku's campaign, than Bukola Saraki.
All right, let me just run through the rest and then we'll move on. Elections, National Assembly approves 53.2 billion naira for security agencies. EFCC quizzes Fayose as ex-governor reports at commission. It was really dramatic when he arrived yesterday. Buhari allowed illegal exodus to Europe, hurting Nigeria's pride. Well,
I'm wondering what exactly is Nigeria's pride. The Nation is next, and the top story here, it's New Dawn here, says Fayemi as he takes oath of office. Buhari governors Tinubu diplomats at colorful event. And it's pretty amazing what happened in Ekiti. The tale of two governors, that's the way one paper puts it. While one was getting inaugurated,
one was reporting
the
to the
outgoing
EFCC.
governor was reporting to EFCC.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting to see Kadi Fayemi sworn into office yesterday. And I mean, whether you like it or not, Kadi Fayemi is one of the brightest minds you'd find around in this country. And I'm glad that he has just 4 years to go. And that means he would have the courage, the audacity to push through the reforms that he couldn't push through at the last time in office because of the
He had
coming
4
elections
years
and the
that
other
time as well. So I'm
you know,
wondering
but
what
no, the
exactly you
difference
meant.
it was politics. He couldn't do it because of politics. He had to get reelected into office, and you know that has a way of limiting your chances for reforms. Now he has just 4 years. He has no choice but to push through those reforms if he wants to position.
I wonder
Ekiti.
how politicians in Nigeria see their 4-year mandate. When they come in, is it that they look forward to the extra 4 years to do anything? You understand?
No,
Because the point there is, whether you're going to get it after 4 years, it's still 4 years. So do whatever you have to do now with this mandate. When you get to the second 4 years,
I mean,
then you can consolidate.
it's
then you
easier-
can make reference to what you've done in
Well,
the past.
it's easier said than done because the truth is, most of the hard reforms that will reposition your state, you know, for long
come in the
term,
second term.
they do not materialize until after an average of even 10 years. Take, for instance, an educational reform will take at least 20 years to show because it means the person you are, somebody has to move from primary school to university before you can actually test and measure the quality of that educational system. So who is going to use his first 3 years to be pushing an educational reform that will sack teachers, that will train people, that will, when he's looking for another election in the coming term?
Let's move
you
on
know,
very
In that case,
quickly.
no one is going to
Because
do
of
anything.
time.
no one is going to touch it.
It was former President Goodluck Jonathan who suggested a single term tenure of 6 years, and that's still debatable. We try to savor. Buhari tells slain aid workers' dad. Mom demands murdered midwife's body. UN, US, ICRC, Arewa condemn killing. Reps demand action on Leah, others. It's a terrible, sad story
Oh, yes.
of that faction of Boko Haram killing yet another
It was
aid worker.
also an embarrassing story because the point there is we heard the terrorists at the time saying that the federal government is not forthcoming. We can't hear anything from them. And they were threatening, we're going to kill these people if we don't hear anything. And up until now, they've taken, they've lived up to their threats.
Interestingly, the federal government says that it did all it could. Well, we don't know what exactly what that is.
It's very sad to think of the fact that she was a young humanitarian rendering a selfless service in the Northeast, and to die in that way and in that manner, in a way that seems like your country that you were serving failed you is quite sad.
Right.
And we must do all we can to win that war by any means necessary.
Okay, let's move to the next one now. The Punch newspaper is our next paper. EFCC grills Fayose, asks ex-governor to return 1.3 billion naira. I never received monies from Dasuki Fayose, saying that. And drama as Wike Fani-Kayode Ozekome follow ex-governor to EFCC's office. They're still making reference to the Dasuki fund and even the poultry monies of, you know,
Of yesteryears.
Of yesteryears. And all
Are you saying they should have moved on?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Yes, he has to do its work. You know, he's not within my purview.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, you see, for me, if he has questions to answer, it's important that he answers those questions. I would only make an argument that whatever questioning, whatever prosecution you intend has to be within the ambits of the law. There shouldn't be, you know, overzealous officers trying to impress whoever for political reasons. The job should be done according to the law, and that's what I'd expect.
Inflation rate rises to 11.2%. Slightly. You know, we're seeing this rise again. Remember, there's the threat, or there's the warning that Nigeria could still slide back into recession.
Oh yes, you know, much as much as we applauded, I think about 18 months, 16, 18 months
18 months.
consistent drop in the inflationary numbers.
January 2017.
Yeah, so I mean, much as we applauded it, what we also saw consistently over that period of time is that while the numbers for inflation consistently or significantly dropped, the prices of food items across the country stayed up, you know, at rocket high numbers. So, of course, the cost of borrowing from the banks, because the monetary policy pegged their rate at 14%, so which means the cost of borrowings remain draconianly high. So all we typically witness, which if you good as it was, that the numbers were dropping significantly, the cost of borrowing remains significantly high. The cost of food and price of commodities
so
remain
what is
extremely high.
driving down the inflation at that time? It's still the question out there, because if you look at all the economic indices, there weren't much investment in infrastructure that could have, activated enough or significant economic activity for anyone to see and production.
I think at the core of the CBN strategy was to tighten, the monetary policy. So they tightened up rates, and I think that significantly helped to drop the numbers significantly over time.
Let's check the front page of the Vanguard now. Fayose storms EFCC, faces interrogators accompanied by supporters. Governor Wike Ozekome Fanikade, he refused to become an APC saint. That's what the PDP is saying. Defection rumor, I stand with Buhari, and that's coming from the Ogun State governor. It appears we have come to the end of defection. I mean, the era of defection. Would that be accurate?
I mean, you see, it's funny in Nigerian politics. We just don't seem to learn, that, what you do comes back to haunt you. I smiled when I saw the news broke out about the pain that the Ogun State governor had about the candidates and whatever, because I remember vividly that a young politician, and from his own state, made a complaint at the time when she wanted to run for office and wasn't given the opportunity to run. And now it's your own turn. You see, what you do would always come around in Nigerian politics, and why our politicians don't seem to learn is simply beyond me. Why not just sanitize the system, put up a system that works, irrespective of who the persons are involved, and then all of you can always smile, whoever the cane flogs.
Unfortunately, if that is achieved, it doesn't pay anyone. So everyone wants to do what will suit them.
Everyone also wants to have an upper hand.
Time.
Yeah.
When you want to have an upper hand every time, you know that when the system is sanitized, some people cannot just have the upper hand because it's going to be too transparent, it's going to be too straightforward, and they wouldn't want that.
And you can't wield the power that you want to wield.
Exactly. So
let me quickly run through other stories here. The last has not been heard about funding for INEC. In 2019, Senate reps approved different sums for INEC security agencies. That's in page 8. Execution of aid workers, Kosa Liman, outrage as Red Cross, others urge action from federal government. Okay, I have nothing to do with Kano bribe videos. That's coming from Kwankwa. So I'm okay despite blackmail. That's what Ganduje is saying. Oshun governorship poll, police APC trying to distract me. Adeleke. I think that's all on the Vanguard.
All right, we'll move to the last paper for this morning. Daily Sun is our next paper now, and on the front page there is the sad one, Hawa, tears and outrage, certainly from a cross-section of Nigerians. Family in shock, demands daughter's cups. And Buhari, global bodies mourn female Red Cross aid workers murder by Boko Haram, and Senate summons security chiefs. Right? We've talked about this. We have to move on now. 2019, PDP appoints Saraki campaign director, and Fayemi sworn in as Fayose reports to EFCC. That was the paradox we were talking about earlier on. Arnez Ndigbo warns on Buhari's Executive Order 6, says action will lead to abuse of power.
I mean, truth is, I've not met 3 lawyers who made a brilliant argument for the case for the Executive Order 6, because before then, the EFCC had the powers, to take away passports for you not to travel. The courts ultimately have had powers to seize the passports of people who were facing trial and review. So I don't think it was necessary to have an extra, executive order, which, looks some sort of like an executive fiat at the end of the day. So it doesn't look too pretty to me, and I'm sure that it's still going to be contested in court, because this was a federal high court judgment.
Exactly.
Interestingly,
in fact, two lawyers are
I'm
in
sure it's
court
still going to go up
regarding
in court.
this already.
Interestingly, the federal government says it got the backing of the judiciary on this one.
Yeah, I mean the federal high court.
It
So it still has to go to the appeal court and the Supreme Court.
We cannot, until the Supreme Court makes a pronouncement, then we can say
okay,
the
fine.
judiciary. That is a court, because we've seen people in the past who have been charged to court, and they have cases in court, and then they are told to submit their international passports to either the DSS or the EFCC. But when the executive has to be the one to do that,
then it becomes.
yeah. But
I'm
some
hoping,
people have said usurpation of the judicial powers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also hoping that in one of the headlines that you read, you know, the Senate wanting to meet with service chiefs of the country, I would love to see a situation in my country where the service chiefs will sit before the Senate and ask questions from the representative of Nigerian people. Whether that is going to happen in this world is a different kettle of fish. But it would be nice to see that the service chiefs will answer questions from the representatives of the Nigerian people
Directly.
as to how this war is being prosecuted.
They have
We're
invited
making
them
progress.
again, so it might just happen this time.
They've been invited sometime, and they said, well, the point there is, due to the sensitivity of security issues and all of that, they would not be able to sit before the National Assembly of people directly to, you know, say however that is. But let's move on. Thank you very much, Adili, Adio, for coming on the program.